Emily Warren here, and you've joined us for Our Millwall Fan Show with the Millwall No One Likes Us Talking team.
I'm Libby Stubbs.
And I'm Millie Connell. Why not sponsor one of our teammates just like they do?
To find out how, just email commercial@millwall-lionesses.com. I'll say that again, commercial@millwall-lionesses.com.
That is all you have to do, and it will help us to get back to where we belong.
Now enjoy our Millwall Fan Show from the No One Likes Us Talking team.
Welcome to our Millwall Fan Show from the No One Likes Us Talking podcast. I'm your host, James Kelly, and joining us today is Debbie Julians. Hello, Debbie.
Hi.
Hi. Henry Morgan. Evening, Henry.
Evening, James. Sorry.
You're right. Yes, all right. And Jeff Burnige. Evening, Jeff.
Yes. Evening, James.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Firstly, Jeff, on behalf of everyone at the No One Likes Us Talking team, congratulations on winning a long service award from the Millwall Community Trust on Saturday. When you went onto the pitch to collect it at half-time, I believe it was, how did it make you feel?
It wasn't actually a long service award, or that's what my daughter called it when she tagged me on Facebook. That's the thing I very rarely used, but no, it was just something that Sean Daly, the CEO of the Millwall Community Trust, wanted to say thank you for the support I'd given them in his time there, because I frequently tell him how well he's doing. It wasn't a low ebb when he took over. So I just think he felt that on Community Day it would be nice to give me something back, and it was a complete shock. I didn't know till 2:30, and I nearly didn't go down. He just said, "I'll pop down at half-time to the main entrance. Will you? I've got something to show you." So I went down, and next thing I know, I'm on the bloody pitch. Oh, sorry, I'm on the blooming pitch. First time I've been on the pitch since the last time I gave the Schoolboy of the Year award, which is my dad's trophy, the Herbert Burnige trophy. And I used to do that every year, but I haven't done that for a number of years now. But it was lovely. I really enjoyed it. And I'm very grateful to Sean. It was a very nice gesture by him.
Well, I'm sure Sean wanted the whole crowd there on Saturday to show what great work you do for the community and for the Community Trust. So that's great to see. Hi, Henry. How have you been this week?
Not too bad, James, to be honest with you. So I'm struggling with a slight frog in the throat this evening after 8 hours of calls today. But doing well. Optimistic, I would say. Optimistic about this weekend's games.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of positivity going around at the moment from what I've seen on social media, from other podcasts, from, just like on sports apps. It's quite an exciting time to be a Lions fan. Evening, Debbie. It's the first show that we've actually done together, so let's hope it's a good one tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great fun.
How's your week?
My week, well, you couldn't have been better, isn't it, with last week's game? And so I have been out to Millwall on Monday, so I had the pleasure of being out there. And I think we're most probably going to talk about that. So within the Easter holiday camps, and that was with the Royal Academy and Kick and Cook and the Adopter School. So that was great.
Absolutely. Well, we'll definitely touch on that later on in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for the first part of today's show, as always, we're going to be discussing the Lions' performances of late. Since we last spoke to each other, Millwall played 3 games, and we've had 3 different results. We drew against Luton earlier in the month at Kenilworth Road. Then, frustratingly, we lost to Swansea, and then, as we've just said, this weekend gone at we absolutely thrashed Barnsley 4-1 at the Den. Henry, let's start with you. From what you saw, I know it seems like a lifetime ago now, but from what you saw against Luton away, how would you sum up the performance and the result?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I think, given how Luton have played this year, the teams they've beaten at Kenilworth Road, actually a draw on paper looks like a decent result. And I think if you keep that mantra that you win your home games and you draw your away ones, it is a good result, right? I mean, the possession was very close. I think we had about 45-46% possession. We had more shots on target than Luton. The key thing for me, and I think where there's a slight bit of disappointment creeps in, is that if you hold the lead twice in a game, but you can't hold on to it, you kind of feel a bit like you've been robbed, especially at a what was it, 87th minute equaliser, and it comes off Jake Cooper. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's little things like that that swing a season at crucial times. And I felt like if we had managed to win at home against Swansea, and I know we're going to come on to the Swansea game, the draw at Luton's a good result. If, as what has now happened, we didn't get anything out of that game, a draw at Luton, probably with a view to making the playoffs, is going to be a stretch, because if we look at every game now, I think we probably need to win 5 out of the last
6.
What is it? 6, yeah. Or potentially go undefeated, but more wins than draws. So I think it's a big ask now, and that was really the beginning point. But a good battling performance. Tom Bradshaw's strike, obviously, absolutely fantastic. And it was nice to see us getting into the channels, and really kind of having a go at Luton.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering we just come back from the international break, I think it was a very promising performance, especially considering Luton are flying high at the moment. And then to go to Kenilworth Road and to, as you say, take the lead twice, I thought actually what on paper looked like a good result. It was a dagger to the heart that we couldn't hold on to that lead. But I think 2 massive positives from that are the fact that we've got Bradshaw and Burke back, who have come back at the right time, because now, as you said, we've got, 6 games left.
6 games, yes. 6 games.
Yeah, so, they're 2 players that could be the difference. Debbie, let's come to you next. As we said then, we followed that result up with a very frustrating 1-0 home defeat to Swansea. What did you make of the Swansea performance? And, as you know what I mean, like the Mill performance against Swansea. Well, we went in that bit afterwards.
It was disappointing that we, 1-0. It could have been a lot worse. I don't think we can complain too much. Lessons were learnt from that. And I think, it gave Danny McNamara and Billy Mitchell, as you just said, was opportunities to get out there and play as well. So the young academy and the graduates. So in on par with all the rest of it, it wasn't, it's sad to lose, but it's not the end of the world. So they obviously gathered themselves ready for the next game.
Yeah. I mean, I'd agree with that. I mean, I was at the game, and the reason I call it frustrating is because although 1-0, and from what I heard of Millwall fans saying that it wasn't, we didn't play well, I personally don't think we played too badly. I thought we got we created some chances. I thought we gave it a good go, but it was a bit like Coventry. I think when it was backs against the wall for us, and when we just about managed to somehow nick a 1-0 win. I feel like that's what happened with Swansea, because when we came out in the second half, they somehow managed to. I think even they were surprised that they got the goal. So, and then they just shut shop and were happy to see out a 1-0 win. And fair play to them.
It was surprising we didn't score in the last 15 minutes. But, that's just
with the chances we had, especially.
Yes, yeah.
But it is what it is. I mean, and then Jeff, coming on to you, it's a good thing that we managed to put things right against Barnsley with a very professional 4-1 victory at home last Saturday.
We're going to need to win either every game or win every game except one and draw that one to get in the playoffs. The game against Barnsley, of the 3 games we've discussed, that's the weakest team. So they're probably the 23rd best team in the division, aren't they? Allowing for Derby's points deduction. So
no, I think Peterborough, but is it Peterborough or Derby? But one of the two. Yeah,
I said 23rd best team in the division.
Okay.
Leeds were our bottom. Yeah, you're right, James.
Yeah.
I thought, like Debbie just said, I think we were unfortunate to lose the game against Swansea. I do. I think we were unfortunate. They passed the ball brilliantly in the first half. They're a possession-based team. That's what they brought the manager in to do. He played the same way at MK Dons. That's Russell Martin, I think his name is.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
They did make us look second-rate in the first half because they passed it around beautifully. But once we had a rocket at half-time and they must have started to tire, the number of times we won the ball back off of them in the last 20 minutes and made a chance or an attack. I don't know how we didn't get a point, but let's be fair. When you lose 1-0 and you're pressing for an equaliser, you've basically lost 1 point, not 3. It's when you're winning and concede a goal, like at Luton, that you drop 2 points. And I think that was a more heartbreaking result than the Swansea one. But having said that, you asked me about Barnsley. We didn't do much wrong, did we? And we've got players coming back at just the right time. You mentioned a couple just now, Burke and Bradshaw, but we've also got Kieftenbelt back into the swing of things. We've got Ryan Leonard back into the swing of things. We've got a decent squad. He's going to have a real problem picking his team and his bench at Preston.
Yeah, it's a nice headache to have, considering how injury ravaged we've been this season. But yeah, no, you're right. It was a very good performance. I didn't see a lot wrong. I actually thought for the first 5-10 minutes, Barnsley didn't look like a team that were fighting relegation. In fact, I think if it weren't, I don't think there was even a minute on the clock when they had their first shot on goal, and Bart made a very good save to keep it out. But once we got the first goal, and credit to Danny McNamara for getting his first goal finally. After that, it was just one-way traffic, really, wasn't it?
I think the highlight of the game was the delightful bit of skill by Benik Afobe on the left.
Oh, yeah.
Got Malone up for that cross for Danny McNamara's header.
It was good.
Well, you know what our fans are like. Come on, we're all like it. We go ups and downs. We go game to game, and managers they can't do that. They've got to maintain a level of performance. He's had his critics, Benik. He's in double figures. He's played with injury, for a large part of the season. Sometimes he was the only striker fit. I thought that was a wonderful bit of skill. If we'd seen that in the Champions League last night, we'd have all been absolutely shouting from the rooftops about it. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and a great goal all round. Good performance. I thought the crowd could have been even more up than they were. A lot depends, doesn't it, on these Easter games now? Yeah.
No, it's. I do agree. I mean, you mentioned Afobe's skill, but I've also got to say I thought the goal he scored on Saturday, for me, it was probably the hardest one to finish. Given the angle he was at on goal, the way that the keeper was positioned, so to get that goal as well was happy days, really, isn't it?
I'm not sure he'll be with us next season.
It's a shame.
The amount
I'd love to sign him even if we can just get him. I think because I saw he's got. I might be wrong here, but apparently he's got another year.
That's
on
correct.
His contract at Stoke.
That's correct, James. Yeah, he does have another year.
So what we could do is we could just take the avenue that we've done with Scott Malone and Mason Bennett and just say, look, we'll try and get him on loan again next season, because Stoke are one of those teams that are going to want to, get rid of loads of players off their wage bill. I mean, they've done it with Ryan Woods, for example. We could look down that avenue of sort of going, look, let's give him another season loan. And then if he does it again next season, then hopefully we can get him when he's a free agent,
I don't have inside information, James, but I know some people at Stoke. He's on a massive amount of money, Bennett.
I can imagine, yeah.
Stoke, I mean, more than you would imagine. And I no idea how Millwall and Stoke came to a deal to divide up his wages. I've no idea, but it does mean that in the summer, Stoke will either decide they want to keep him. I think that's highly unlikely. They may change manager because they haven't really done what they hoped under.
They have been pretty underwhelming this season, I have to say. I remember like November time they were like 3rd or 4th, and now they're 15th, 16th in the table.
I think Bennett will want to stay. I do, and
he does look at home at Millwall. He clearly enjoys playing for us.
Yeah.
So,
but the people that are in control are the Stoke directors. They will want to save as much of his wages for 12 months as they possibly can. The alternative is they might do a deal with him, give him a free transfer, but it'll be a big payoff. I was told what wages he was on. I still have to pinch myself. I'm not even sure I believe what I was told, but he certainly won't be on that at Millwall if ever he becomes a free agent. Not even half. So we'll wait and see what happens. But I like Bennett. I liked him when he was with us before as a young player. He got injured, if you remember, when he was playing for us, age 19.
It was the Lomas days, wasn't it?
Not sure now. I think it was before that, but who
Kenny
knows?
Jacket, maybe, yeah.
Maybe it was Kenny. Yeah, I think it was Kenny. I don't think Lomas signed any decent players, so...
Fair enough, yeah.
You can say I'm biased because of his West Ham connections, and it wasn't a balanced opinion that I gave there. But look, we've got options now up front. The front players can give their all for an hour if they want. If that's what their instructions are. We got him. We got Bradshaw. We got Burke playing as a striker. We're well off there. Who else we got? He's not
Bennett,
fit.
Mason Bennett.
Mason's not fit yet,
Yeah,
but,
Mason Bennett coming back, and hopefully he's coming back, isn't he?
Well, we'll talk about forecasts later, but look, this weekend's critical. We went 3 games without a win before Barnsley. We can't mess about anymore. It's got to be
win at all costs now.
It's got to be a run to the tape now. And I've always thought it was possible that we sneak in under the radar. We've never been higher than 9th, as far as I can recall. So we're not considered by anybody to be favourites to get there. But we've got our players fit, while other clubs are starting to struggle with injury. I mean, Luton's injury list is incredible. We have to finish above Luton. They're 4 points ahead of us. I think we will. But, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think Luton are still. I think Luton have got Nottingham Forest over the Easter weekend. They've also got to play Fulham as well, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll see how it goes. Well, brilliant stuff there, guys. Great chat. We're going to take a break there and listen to what's happening with the Lions Legends of 1972 at the Millwall Community Trust on the 29th of April.
I'm Jeff Burnige. Please join me in the Lions Centre at 7:30 p.m. on Friday the 29th of April. I will be hosting Legends of 1972. That is Dennis Burnett, Doug Alder, Alan Dorney, Steve Brown, George Jacks and the legendary Brian King as they remember the promotion challenge they sustained 50 years ago to the day, which left them in the second tier runners-up slot as they completed their season by defeating Preston North End at the Den. Audience participation will be welcomed and the show will be broadcast at a later date. If you would like to be a member of the audience, please email nolutalkin@gmail.com. That is NOLUTALKIN, nolutalkin@gmail.com. That's all one word, nolutalkin@gmail.com to secure a seat. Attendees will receive a free copy of Brian's autobiography, The Lion's King, and entry will be gained by a note donation toward the Millwall Community Trust. Don't miss this great event. Seating is limited and each email request will be restricted to 2 named individuals. Additionally, Brian, our record-breaking goalkeeper of the 60s and 70s, will be available to sign books at the Lions Centre, which is in Barlina Road, right next to the stadium, on Friday the 29th of April from 6 p.m. for an hour. If you're unable to attend the whole event, there will be copies to purchase at the Lions Centre from 6 p.m.
I'm James Kelly, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Henry Morgan, Jeff Burnige, and Debbie Julians. Now comes the part of the show where we talk to an ex-Lion. As you've heard, the Millwall Community Trust is hosting the Lions Legends of 72 Day on the 29th of April, and this week Eamon caught up with one of them. Born in Horsford, Norfolk in 1941, this ex-Lion spent 8 years at Chelsea, scoring 80 goals in 176 games between 1958 and 1966. He went on to play for Birmingham City and QPR before joining the Lions in 1970 and scored 27 goals in 77 games. He then left to join Brighton before having stints at St Patrick's Athletic and Sligo Rovers before hanging up his boots in 1978. A short stint in management saw him manage St Patrick's Athletic, Sligo Rovers, Kings Lynn, Dereham Town and Horsford United. For the long-standing Millwall fans, you'll of course know this is Barry Bridges. Let's hear what he had to say. For the long-standing Millwall fans, you'll know of course this is Barry Bridges. Let's hear what Eamon had to say.
Dunphy to Posse, on for Alder. Looks a little more promising for Millwall. And a good looking cross, and it's there! Oh, it's there! Bridges is claiming it!
On the 29th of April, it will be 50 years since Millwall first flirted with top-flight football. They played Preston at the Den as the final game of the season, and they won 2-0. And I have one of the goal scorers from that day, Barry Bridges, who I spoke to earlier this week. Hello, Barry. How are you?
So how are you?
Yeah, very good, Barry. And it's an absolute delight to speak to you.
Lovely to hear from people from Millwall.
Well, there you go. And it's 50 years ago on the 29th of April when you scored that goal against Preston, and we all thought we were going to get promoted to the top flight.
The first division, it was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever known.
How do you remember that day?
Look, it was heartbreaking because it was what it meant to everybody at Millwall. To the manager. Benny Fenton wasn't the big top boy as a manager, but it was his ambition to be in the first division. And to think those last 10-15 minutes we played it out thinking we were promoted.
That's right. You weren't the only one.
The memories I have of it is more than anything is that when the final whistle went, and me and Posse, everybody came onto the pitch, all right?
Yeah.
And all these doctors, the big boys, the big hard guys, they all came on the pitch, and they grabbed me and Posse, and they took us on their shoulders and ran us around the pitch.
That was it. Yeah.
For about at least 5 minutes, because we think we got promotion. Then you got the bloody announcement came over that Birmingham, was it Birmingham?
It was. It was Birmingham had beaten Sheffield Wednesday.
They had one more game left.
Yeah.
And we're on these guys' shoulders, and they just dropped us. The Posse were on the bloody floor, really broke our backs because they just dropped us. And these guys, these big guys who are hard boys, let's be fair, were just crying their eyes out. You could not, I can't imagine it. And when we got back in the dressing room, the first guy I saw was, Benny.
Yeah.
And he was just, absolutely gobstopped like her. So it was a terrible thing. It was a horrible, horrible thing to happen.
I could imagine.
And you'd never forget something like that, would you?
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Those last 10 minutes we played out. I think we were winning 2-0, weren't we?
You were, yeah. That's how it was.
We were pretty safe. There wasn't sort of a problem about giving a goal away in the last 10 minutes because I think if I remember right, we just played the game out and went through, just kept the ball and that was it. But unbelievable thing. And the next thing is, you had Birmingham had the other game, didn't they?
They played at Orient in the midweek.
That's it. Like that.
Yeah.
And you knew, though, deep down, that there's always a chance that Orient could have beaten them, but you knew it was finished. You knew, even though we hoped and prayed that that they would get a point or lose 3 points, but you knew it was all over like that.
So many Millwall fans went to Orient, and it was probably.
I'll tell you something, as long as you don't print this.
Go on.
Are you recording this?
I am, yes, I am.
I bet you don't know this.
Go on.
I mean, I don't think we could never get in trouble because we lost.
Yeah.
We phoned up the guys at Orient and said, look, there's a few bob in it for you if you beat Birmingham.
Oh, well, I reckon Birmingham must have made a bigger of it because Mark Lazarus played the worst game ever.
Not a very good side anyhow, were they?
Yeah, no, but Mark Lazarus played the worst game I've ever seen him play.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He played, did he?
Yeah. Oh,
so you never know with Mark. He might have had a few bob on it.
Yeah, that could have been the case.
You shouldn't say that because it was not true. But what I'm saying is that it was a terrible weekend in some ways.
It was.
And we knew we'd never get back in that position again. I think that was the worst thing because we had played out of our skins.
Yes.
We played this. We played a 4-4-2, and me and Posse up front. Just rigid. It was absolutely rigid 4-4-2 when, and Benny believed in it and he made us believe in it. I mean, when I first went there, I was about, I don't know how old I was I 31, 32, 31? I
yeah, 31, yeah.
Not coming towards the end of my career, but I mean, at the same time, I'd not past my best, but I mean, I did have a couple of good years. But when we first started playing, and Posse and myself up front, we literally played the whole width of the pitch, me and him. But what he said to us, and this was very, very clever. Look, he wasn't the greatest coach in the world by a long, long way, but he was a great motivator. I'm talking about Benny. He's a great motivator. He made you feel great. I mean, he used to say to me, "You're playing better now than you ever played for England," and all this sort of crap. And you used to believe him because you wanted to believe him like that.
Yeah, great motivator.
What was I going to say? Something I was thinking about. Was I talking about Posse?
Yeah.
This rigid 4-4-2. He literally told the four midfield players they must not go over the halfway line.
Really?
Literally. And he said to us too, you and Posse, he said, "You've got a piece of string and it's 30 yards long. Don't break it."
No.
So that's what he's saying about movement, about moving together.
Yes.
And play off on each other, and it worked absolutely like a dream. We were tight at the back. We had King in goal, who was a great keeper, and defensively we were good, and it worked. It worked like a dream. And with our pace, with Posse, I mean, Posse was quicker than I was.
Yes.
And we literally pulled the second division teams apart because they didn't know who to mark. They had nobody to mark like that.
No.
So it was fabulous. I mean, it was a fantastic season. And when you look back on it, after it was all over and done with, and you'd lost, you hadn't come up, but you didn't regret the season because it was a fantastic season like that. And we had a very good side.
We did.
Yeah,
we did.
We had great spirit in the side, and it summed up Millwall. I mean, when I signed from Queen's Park Rangers to Millwall, I was at Rangers, and I'd had 2 good years at Rangers, and I'd signed a new contract for 2 more years. Then I get a phone call from Gregory. You remember a guy called Gregory? He was chairman of Queen's Park. I was 31, I suppose, 31, 32. So he phoned me up and he said, I want to see you. He said, come over to my house. I said, I want to see you. So I went over to his house. He lived in Richmond Park, somewhere around that way. And, I'm not saying what happened, but basically he said to me, look, I've had an offer of 30,000 quid for you, and you're 31, 32. And he said, I need the money to buy younger players. So he said, if you go, we'll look after you. And that's the way. Now, I didn't want to go in any way possible because, I had 2 great years. But that was the plain facts of life.
Yeah.
So that, he wanted to, get younger players, and that was it, like, But and we went. I think we went about 30 games without losing, and they held the record for years, didn't they?
They did,
home victories, like that.
Oh yeah, there was 59 home games. Gamesmanship.
The old den, and where the cage was, when you came out.
Yes.
The goal.
Yeah.
This is in teams. This is small. He used to spit all over them as they came out. And I've been in that team. I've been in a team of Queen's Park Rangers.
Yeah.
And you came out and there was all bloody spit on your shirt because they spit at you as you walked out.
Oh, bloody.
But it all created this unbelievable atmosphere for you as a Millwall supplier and supporter that you were bloody unbeaten in some ways, like that. Unbeatable. And it was all part of Millwall. We've got football ground. It was I mean, no disrespects to where it was, New Cross, and those days it was a tough area, wasn't it? Let's be fair.
Yeah.
The supporters were all Dockers, hard-boiled Dockers, great guys, fabulous blokes to support you. All this was Millwall football, and I tell you, one man summed Millwall up, Harry Cripps.
Yes, many people have said that.
Yeah, he was Millwall through and through, and he wasn't a great player. I mean, let's be fair, he might not be able to get in a Sunday team sometimes because he had the lack of ability to a certain extent, but he could defend and he was fit and he was a winner and all the way, and he was a great skipper. And he sums up Millwall. He did sum up Millwall Football Club.
No, he epitomised everything that it was about.
Yeah, it was.
Absolutely.
And it went along with everything else like that.
Yeah.
I can remember signing, this thing about Queen's Park Rangers, they wanted me to go because they wanted the money. So I went over to Millwall, without going into the whole story. I did earn a few bob from Queen's Park Rangers to go, and then I went over to Millwall, and I said to them, I want to make sure everything is right. So I go over to Millwall, I'll see the chairman of Queen's Park Rangers in the morning. I go over to Millwall in the afternoon, talk terms, and we signed at the ground.
Yeah.
Now, I was living in Eastbourne at the time, so now I've got to go all the way back to Eastbourne. I'll walk out the ground, I walk to New Cross Gate Station to catch the train, and as I walked out the ground, I just signed and made a nice few quid, and I looked around me and I thought, what have I done?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at Millwall for what it was, and that it was great until I decided to sign, and I thought, oh, jeez, what have I done? But I thought, well, I've done it now, and here we go. 2 great years, absolutely superb years. I had 2 great years with Posse. Me and Posse up front, we scored a lot of goals and had a fantastic 2 years. I've got no regrets whatsoever.
Yes, if we could have a goal scorer like you at the moment, we'd be laughing, but we haven't.
Yeah, but it was easy to score goals in those days. Not easy, easier.
Right, easier, okay.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at... it's funny, I saw this game yesterday, Manchester City, was it yesterday on Bondi? Sunday?
Yeah.
Manchester City and Liverpool.
Yeah.
And I looked at the standard of the game, of the fitness. I looked at the speed. Looked at the pressing. Where you don't get an inch, you don't get a minute, second on the ball before somebody gets into you and defend against you. And that game was absolutely a fantastic game of football. And I mean, as much as we were, when I was at Chelsea, we had a great young side.
We did.
And, we did really well. And we were fit at those days, at that time. And we were young, and everything was great about it. But we wouldn't live with these guys today.
No.
And it's a true fact because of your medical science, your eating habits, your training facilities, everything, the ball, the whole lot. We'd never live with it. It was a fantastic game of football.
Yeah. It's changed. It really has changed. But it's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant, Barry, to talk to you, particularly about that day. So, as I say, it's 50 years on the 29th, and it's your birthday as well.
Yeah, it is my birthday, the 29th, yeah.
Yeah, and...
I had no idea that was bloody 50 years ago.
Yeah. So, how old are you now on the 29th?
I'm 81 on the 29th.
Yeah. Well, we send all our best wishes to you for then. We shall play this when we have the event at Millwall with a number of your old pals, Alan Dorney, Dennis Burnett, Brian King, Steve Brown, Jules Jacks, and a couple more. They'll be there talking about the 50 years ago. But it's been tremendous to speak to you this evening.
Okay, I hope I've not anything slip about the...
No, not at all. It's all good. All good stuff.
It was all very innocent. And would have done anything to bloody get that promotion like that.
That's right.
This probably would have come down straight down, but that wouldn't make any difference, would it?
No.
Great memories, mate.
Lovely. Great speech to you, Barry. All the best.
All the best.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Pleasure.
It may well be that someone has heard that Sheffield Wednesday have scored. Well, if that is the case, and that's the way it stands for 7 minutes, this place is going to go head over heels. That must be what it's it's all about. And the crowd now, the police in fact, are having trouble behind that crest and goal, are having trouble keeping people off. And that crossbar is almost buckling to breaking point. Barry Bridges has gone down there to implore them to get away. Millwall don't want this match stopped now. They have never seen such scenes as this. Down in the Old Kent Road. And they think it's all over. And indeed it is all over. And the crowd are absolutely flooding the den at Millwall, because Millwall have won by 2-0. Derek Possey and Barry Bridges, they're two faithful strikers, and the word has crept down from Sheffield that Birmingham were losing up there. Now one can only hope that the Bush Telegraph is right, and that this jubilation is not just a little too premature. That's the final score here at the Den, 2-0 to Millwall.
Barry Bridges there. Jeff, let's start with you. You must have a lot of fond memories from that season, but what do you remember from Barry's playing days down at the Den? Any moments stand out?
Well, I've got a lump in my throat listening to that. Both the interview and that bit of audio from the time. Oh, that hurts so much. Some of the things that Barry said were very interesting, and I would say I agree with Eamon. Mark Lazarus had a very poor game. Let's leave it at that. The other thing that might be of interest to fans, I've got the odd random fact, haven't I? But the house that Barry went to meet Jim Gregory, the QPR chairman, I know the house well in Richmond. That's where I live, and I had to go there myself to try to sort out the Dean Neal transfer. That's before a lot of people's time as well, but that was a really complicated one because he went to America, came back. That's another story. But funnily enough, it was a house that another Millwall chairman, Peter Mead, bought from Jim Gregory, and he lived there as well. And he doesn't live there anymore. But in the back garden of that house, there is a piece of turf from the old Den, which Peter bought and put in his back garden. There you are. What I remember of the day, we all got completely carried away. It's the most hurtful things ever happened to me in football, easily the most hurtful thing. And I think it's the greatest pleasure of my life, apart from the relationship with the children, obviously, and grandchildren, but to be involved with the board when we put all those years of hurt behind us to get promoted. What was it? 16, 17, 18 years later, something like that, 16 I think, to get to the top flight. That was me absolutely promising my dad that if I ever joined the board, we'd put 1972 right, and happily we were able to do it.
That's brilliant and a great story. Debbie, I don't know if a lot of our fans know, but your dad's actually played for Millwall, and you mentioned that he actually knew Barry.
Well, yeah, he was a couple of years apart from their actually being at the club at Millwall together. My dad had left, moved on. We went to America. A lot of people obviously know that. But where they would have met was really when my dad played for Arsenal and, of course, with Chelsea. So they would have met there. And obviously with Derek Possey, I used to babysit for Derek Possey's children. And, so we all kind of knew each other and it was around. And I agree with Jeff. I had a tear in my eye there. Lovely memories.
What have you done to us, Eamon? Meant to be a nice episode, and everyone's miserable.
Wasn't he humble the way he was speaking well?
He clearly was, wasn't he? Yeah.
When Eamon made that comment about, it would be so easy. No, it would be easier. It's never easy. And it's just, what a gentleman. That was lovely to listen to.
I mean, as a striker, it is you are the one of the players at the most pressure to get the goals, and the fact that he done it in a season that Millwall nearly got to the first division, must have taken a lot of courage to do. So it was very humble to listen to that, and obviously it was a long time before I was alive. So sadly I don't have the scars of that day, but.
No, I didn't.
I imagine the season itself though was very memorable, and it's even though we didn't quite get over the line.
Well, Jeff would remember that more than I, but my dad was a striker, and he was before that, and quite a successful one too. But the speed of Derek Posse and Barry there, it must have been just incredible.
Yeah. Henry, I imagine obviously 72 was before your time as well.
Indeed it was, James. Yeah.
But listening to Barry there, what did you make of what he had to say?
I think that, there were three things that really stood out for me. The first one was even in my young state, I knew about that game. One of my mum's friends was at that match, and when she found out I was a Millwall fan, she sent me a Millwall cup with a letter telling me about them waiting for the Birmingham result. So it's kind of in folklore, in the history of the club. The second thing that stood out for me is how much that heartbreak against Birmingham City feeds into my own Millwall narrative, which of course is the playoffs in 2001, which I don't think I've ever... I don't think I've ever really recovered from Stern John at the Den.
That name just triggers you.
Talking about it now, I've got hairs on the back, literally hairs on the back of my neck, so my arms are standing up, because that night at the Den, obviously made the headlines for other reasons, but we got that draw up at Birmingham with a Dion Dublin goal, and I just thought, you know what, we've done this. We're actually going to get to Wembley. And, we're as good as Birmingham are. And that goal in the last minute, it's off. So it's almost like Birmingham City is a continuous bogey team for Millwall throughout the ages. And, so that was the other. And I think the last thing that really stood out for me was the importance of partnerships when he was talking about that front partnership between two players.
Yeah.
And I was reflecting on this season and thinking about how much we potentially missed that up front, having a settled partnership that can really go and get those extra goals. And it's, also stood out to me the fact that he was talking about it being, an unfashionable team, and, they played out of their skin for the whole season. And it almost sounds like exactly what we would have to do if we wanted to try and make a push for the playoffs and or automatic promotion in the Championship. We'd have to have a season where we play out of our skin with a duo up front, which complemented each other, and were able to put 46 good games together. Yeah, it was amazing to listen to,
and a very short injury list as well. but
this season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, I'd love to experience getting to the Premier League in my lifetime, and hopefully this season is going to be the end of that, and hopefully we can do it. But listening to Barry there, and I imagine the memories are coming back for Debbie and for Jeff. So hopefully more memories can be created along the way. Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a break there and listen to what the Lions Food Hub can offer.
First of all, let's hear from Harvey Brown.
Have you heard of the Lions Food Hub? It is now located in the Millwall Community Trust car park. That's beside Millwall's Den in Ballina Road. That Millwall Lioness, Kelly Webster, is involved. Don't forget to help the Lions Food Hub if you can. Thank you.
As Harvey said, they need support, and you can help if you can by making a one-off or a regular monetary donation online at Banquet, that is BANKUET, or on a Saturday you should make donations pre-match at the Hub, about 50 metres down from the Lions store. Alternatively, you can also contact the team via their Twitter and Facebook sites.
I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Jeff Burnige, Debbie Julians and Henry Morgan. Well, as we mentioned earlier, Millwall hosted their Community Trust Day on Saturday against Barnsley. Here's Eamon talking to Sean Daly about what happened that day.
On Saturday, it was the return of the Millwall Community Trust's Community Day, the first time it's been held since 2019. It was great. The numbers there were fantastic, and the people in the Lions Centre never stopped coming. There was also lots to see around the stadium as friends of the Trust and associates put stalls up for what they were doing. I spoke to Sean Daly, the CEO of the Millwall Community Trust.
Big day today, Sean. Community Day at the Den.
Yeah, no, really looking forward to it. Got a lot going on. So we've been here quite early setting it all up. Just going to really showcase what we do, really. Got loads going on in the Lions Centre. Got loads going on the pitch. Got stalls going on around. Just to show people what we do and how we can showcase it.
That's it. Lovely. Let's be hopeful and have a great day.
Thank you very much, Eamon.
Cheers,
Thanks
mate.
for your support.
Bye.
Sean's aspirations for the day certainly came true. I also caught up with Peter Varney, and Peter had these words to say. He's one of the trustees.
Hi, Eamon, how are you? I'm doing a bit of recording. Speaking to Peter Varney, the Executive Vice Chair, in fact, of the Millwall Community Trust. Well, what a wonderful day, the Community Day here at last, since COVID struck. So 2019 was the last time around. What are your expectations today?
Well, first of all, it's fantastic that the club allow us to showcase the Trust in this way and show the sort of range of activities that we deliver for the people of Lewisham and Southwark. And also they've obviously allowed us to change the shirt for the day, which is a great way of getting recognition for what we do across the board, which is very important. I don't think people realise with football clubs, and particularly here in Millwall, since I've been involved for 2.5 years now, just exactly what goes on and how we change people's lives for the better. So it's great that on a day like this you can actually showcase to football what we do.
Yeah, it's fantastic, really. And of course, it does stretch beyond the realms of Southwark and Lewisham, and we talk about Belmarsh Prison and rehabilitating people there, and I know that work's due to take place in time. It's a magical organisation that seems to stretch far and wide.
Yeah, well, take the example you've just given. I mean, if you look at the reoffending rates in prison, they're huge. And you have to ask yourself, do we want to put people in prison to rehabilitate, or do we want to put people in prison just to punish? Yeah. And of course there's a punishment element. Yeah. But if you can give them a pathway to achieving something when they come out, then it's got to be for society's benefit as a whole. So what we do with the coaching courses is give them something to aspire to. And I've seen over the years how people use that to turn their lives round.
Yeah, there's some fine examples of that here and elsewhere. I've noted it really is an opportunity that perhaps they never ever thought they'd get, and they're really pleased that they've had it. Let's hope we have a great day today, and let's hope it does a good job promote the Millwall Community Trust.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mentioned that friends of the Community Trust were there for the day, and I met Carol Brady. She said to me, that's Carol with an E, so I'll have to remember that. And Carol is the manager at Bede. Now, Bede is an organisation that's been in Bermondsey since the mid-1930s and has done a lot in the community. In fact, they took the lead on one of the Community Trust projects not all that long ago. This was what Carol had to say. She's got 2 knees and 1 E on Carol. Carol Brady, in fact, the manager at Bede. What's Bede to start with?
So Bede is a local charity. We're based by Southwark Park. We've got a youth club, we've got a domestic violence unit, and the place that I manage is for people with learning disabilities.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's good. We have a football team. We have 2 football teams with MILLWALL Community Trust, and they've been going for years and years, and our guys love it. They come every week, and once a month they play in the Special League. And we've won the Special League a couple of times. They've been trying to con me into paying for an open debt us if we win again. I'm not sure I've agreed to that, but something will happen if they win anything.
Something will happen, Carol,
if we win, we're all winners at Bede, we say.
All winners at Bede. That's fantastic.
There's no losers where we are.
So you're here today on the Community Day. It's
Yes,
wonderful. After 2 years of COVID, we've managed to get a Community Day.
Yes.
And what will you be doing here today?
We're going to stand on the stall, and if anyone wants to talk to us about what we do at Bede, we can tell them. I've brought a couple of people from the team who are probably wandering around slightly lost, and I'm going to go and find them in a little while. And hopefully we're going to watch Millwall win afterwards.
Let's be hopeful, because it hasn't been too good over the last couple of games.
You've got to be a little bit hopeful being a Millwall fan. I am a Millwall fan.
That's it.
But it hasn't been the greatest results every now and then. No. But, I'm sure we'll have a good laugh down here.
Absolutely. Thanks, Carol. That's
You're
wonderful.
very welcome.
You have a good day.
I will do. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Other friends of the Trust included the Brown family, Harvey, Vicky and Dean. And George Lampy caught up with them.
Hello everybody, here I am at the Den today talking with Victoria and Dean Brown. And I've got young Harvey here, Millwall's most famous supporter. Victoria, you're here man in the stall today for the MPS Society.
Yeah.
I won't say the exact word, guys, because I can't pronounce it. But are you doing a roaring trade?
We're not doing too bad. We've had a few kind donations, so we're doing all right, yeah.
Yep, so something I have to say, I've actually put a few bob in myself, but that's
Thank you.
Let's talk to Dad. How are you, Dean? You all right?
I'm good, thanks, George.
And how long have you been here long? I mean, it's about, I'm just looking at the watch, it's about 1:15.
Just after 12.
Yeah, about an hour.
And the people, you've got lots of wares here, hats, bags, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and maybe the most important thing I should ask you is obviously you had good news regarding RV recently.
Amazing news. Yeah, the Vimizin is no longer on trial, or we've got no worries now. He's got it for the rest of his life without even having to worry that they're going to stop it at some point. So yeah, nice.
That's fantastic. Yeah. This was if I remember, this was a 5-year trial, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah. And then
because of lockdown, it went on a bit. It got extended, and it got extended. So yeah, and nice have agreed to let us have it.
Fantastic.
So yeah, best news, really, great news.
Okay, well I'll leave you to it because you've got a lot of people here who want to talk to you. So see you all soon.
Thanks, George. Take care.
Great news for the Brown family. You could hear Dean and Vicky being delighted that the drug that maintains Harvey's stability has been approved after a 5-year trial. What a happy day that must have been when they found that out. Stan Godwin met Fleur. Fleur is the lady at the Mill Community Trust who does all the events and promotion stuff. And here's what Fleur's thoughts of the day were.
Okay, this is Stan Godwin here. I'm down at the Millwall Community Trust. I'm fortunate enough to be speaking to Fleur, who's the head organiser of all this. Tell me, Fleur, how have you found the beginnings of today? Has it been difficult to arrange?
So my focus actually in there is more so the media side. It has been difficult to kind of hope everything comes together all at once, but so far so good. We've got the fun zone up and running. We have the AP doing their tournaments. We have Pan Disability and also Walking Sports that are going to be doing their tournaments between one another. And yeah, so far so good. And obviously we're going to have the stalls setting up over at the club car park. And yeah, so far so good.
Tell me something. Have you found the uptake or the interest for this event? Was it bigger than you expected it to be?
I would definitely say yeah, but I mean, you don't really see how much the community are within MCT until you actually put out the post, and then you're people are coming back and be I can't wait for this day. They're reposting it, they're retweeting it. So it's been really good to see more people just wanting to promote this kind of day, so that they can showcase what Millwall do in the community.
Ah, well, that's always good to hear. Now, how long have you worked for the MCT?
So I've just been here just over a year. So yeah, I started here on a Kickstart contract and essentially helped develop the media part of the department. And since then, it's just been on the up and up, and became a permanent member of staff not too long ago. And yeah.
Oh, so Sean Daly is your taskmaster then?
Yeah, Sean Daly.
Well, I think on that point, before we say anything we shouldn't say, we'll terminate the interview.
No problem.
Okay, thank you.
I then turned to Shax, a guy who is a football coach and looks after both young men and young women as they enter into the world of football. He's got a great driving personality, and some of his young talent play for Millwall Lionesses. And this is what Shax had to say about the Millwall Community Trust.
Basically, what I do is I basically have an academy where it's like I help develop players and mentor them and support them through football. And the main aim is like for them to believe in themselves and have that like support system, because especially at a young age, as she's 16, there's a girl called Shirin. Her name's called Shirin, by the way, and she basically at a young age, it's hard for them to get into football because they just think, yeah, I got to go at the top level in the game. Like go play for example Chelsea. Yes, I look at that, I want to be there, but they don't want to work hard sometimes. So I kind of motivate them to inspire to be that change. So yeah.
Well, that's fantastic, and it's great for you to be here to support the Community Day. What do you think about the Millwall Community Trust?
It's a lovely thing that they're doing. Like they're giving back to the community, and that's the main thing. To know it's not about who you know or what they're wearing. It's about putting a smile on people's faces, and that's the main thing. Especially these kids growing up, not many people have parents, so this is a good thing for them, like to give back.
They make a difference.
To make a difference, yeah.
And I think that's it.
That's the best thing about it.
Thank you ever so much for that, and enjoy the rest of your day.
I love for that, man. Thank you.
Cheers.
I then spoke with Shireen, who is a protege of Shax, or as we heard, and she was a really enthusiastic young woman who plays for the Lionesses. But she's only 16. It's amazing.
So you're Shireen?
Yeah.
And you're only 16 years old?
Yeah.
And you're playing for the Lionesses first team?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about your journey to playing for the first team.
I don't know, I kind of came from just playing just in like a park, and then, I'm on loan from Crawley.
Crawley have let you in?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm on loan from them to Millwall, but it's been a great experience. I enjoy the team and I enjoy the girls. And yeah, it's challenging as well because they're obviously older and I'm just 16, but it's a good experience. It's intense, and I feel like I'm progressing slowly as I grow older.
Well, that's good. And what's your longer term ambition?
To hopefully make a pro contract and play Super League.
Play in the Super League?
Yeah.
Play for England?
That's it, yeah. England, yeah.
And that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Shireen, we'll look out for you. And you've had a good day here today on the Community Day?
Yeah, lovely day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's great that it all comes together.
Yeah.
Thanks ever so much for speaking with me.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
Well, you couldn't do anything without speaking to the next person on my list. She's the face of the Lions Food Hub, Millwall Community Trust Ambassador. Yes, it's the one and only Kelly Webster.
Got Kelly Webster here, the Millwall Community Trust Ambassador, who runs with her partner Ellen the Lions Food Hub, and anything else that she can possibly do to keep every plate going. Kelly, big day today.
Absolutely huge day. I mean, obviously we've missed it for a couple of years due to COVID, so I think we're all buzzing. As you can see round, everyone's buzzing, everyone wants to get it going, and yeah, I can't wait for it, cannot wait.
Well, let's hope it's a good one, and I'll look out for you later on as well. Wonderful stuff,
Thank you,
Kelly.
Raymond. Take
Cheers,
care.
mate.
And the big reveal of the day was Chris Congo. Chris became a new Millwall Community Trust ambassador. And what a finer person to make that leap from the world of boxing to support the Mill Community Trust.
Chris, lovely to meet you.
You too, brother.
Seeing you in the flesh is quite an experience.
Thank you.
And all the best with your boxing.
Thank you very much.
But I hear today you've become our new Millwall ambassador with the MCT.
That's for sure.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, what brought you to make that decision?
I think it's good for a person like me in the public eye, boxing, in the industry, in the entertainment industry, to come and sort of help the young people, the young kids, just out of crime, and just get them on the right path. And sometimes you need someone like me to give them a bit of advice, give them knowledge, and for them to, just grow. And once they're grown and older, they can do whatever they feel like doing. And it's all for motivational purposes, of course.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fantastic that you've taken this role on. And I'm sure you'll take a lot of youngsters with you. And the Millwall Community Trust, certainly in our book, has been an organisation that's made a big impression right through Southwark and Lewisham and beyond. They do rehabilitation at Belmarsh and things like that with young people. So what sort of profile do you think you'll have with the Community Trust?
I think I'll have a good profile. I think obviously the aim for me is to help the kids, and as long as I can help them and motivate them and get them on the right path and keep them there, then that's my aim. And I think with Millwall we can do that together.
That's wonderful. Chris, it's a delight to speak to you. We'll have to speak to you again on another occasion. Got a prediction for Millwall versus Barnsley today?
I'm going for a 2-0.
To the Lions. I'll take that every day. Wonderful stuff. Great to speak with you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Well, I've just touched on an amazing amount of people that we spoke with, met, that just made Community Day at Millwall last Saturday such great fun. We'll hear a few more of the characters that we met in the following show. But for now, let's just reflect on what a day it was when Millwall played Barnsley, the Community Day that preceded it.
Well, it's great to hear the Millwall Community Trust being celebrated, especially in the sunshine and on the day of a 4-1 win. Debbie, let's get a quick view from you. What did you make of the day and how it went?
Well, you couldn't get better, actually, could you? Yeah, I mean, I think, does anyone know the words to Danny Boy as well? But, we should be just so proud. It's just amazing what the Community Trust does, and to have an open day to make more people aware. We are the envy out there of other clubs for what we do in the community. I mean, to get children back from offending, these, as one of those, somebody said, they haven't got parents necessarily, they haven't got a guide through life. They've got sometimes the wrong guides that put them into the wrong side of the law, and bringing them back in, making them feel wanted, just is amazing. They take off what they leave outside, and you become special, you become important. And to bring the community children through that is just amazing. Unbelievably, the work that Fleur does. I've met Fleur on many occasions, and with the summer schools, all of the things that the Millwall Community Trust do, and especially if you listen to Chris Congo there, that was just lovely, isn't it? It's just making it all work for our community, and I don't know any other club that pairs with that.
Absolutely. Jeff, you'll know more about the Community Trust more than a lot of people. How much work exactly goes into it?
Since Sean arrived, he's revived it big time with help from Peter Varney, who you heard interviewed by Eamon, and No, the vibe on the day was unbelievable. The weather helped. There's lots going on outside that hasn't even been mentioned so far. There was a live band. A lot of the Lionesses were going around with bucket collection to help raise a bit of extra money for their travelling expenses because they're substantial. I think half the money they raised they gave to Kelly for the Lions food hub. And then they went on the pitch, didn't they, as well, at half-time, or they did a lap of the pitch at half-time, got the usual great reception. I'd like to thank everybody that contributed to that bucket collection. Pennies, pounds, notes, whatever. Thanks, everybody. And I just loved that day. It really gave me a big boost to see Millwall at its best.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And Henry, what did you make of the day and how it went?
I mean, James, it's just phenomenal. And I think the thing for me is with all of these things with Millwall, we've had a season where off the pitch, there have been a substantial number of issues that have been highlighted in the press. We've had Sky Sports, pretty much blacklist us, to be fair, through some of the stuff that they've said. Why don't any of those individuals come down on a day like we did on Saturday and expose the amazing work that the football club did? And I link this to something that I heard on BT Sport, and it's a documentary about young players coming from south of the river. And one of the kids talks about when he puts his football kit on, it's like his armour, and it means that he can walk in any area through South London without fear of being attacked or any sort of retribution because he's wearing that football kit and he can do that. The Millwall Community Trust are the armour around our football club.
Yes.
And why that is not, as high a profile as some of the other cases, even when there may be some form of negative press, why isn't that also, however Millwall also do X, Y, Z? We just never get a balanced picture for some of the amazing stuff that we've got going on in the community. And when I talk to people about stuff the football club does in the community, they're like, well, I just assume they're all a bunch of hooligans. Right. Okay. And this, I think, is one of the amazing things, and people criticise us sometimes for having an anti-outsider mentality. But the reason right there is because we look after our own and we try and look after those people within, our borough and within our communities. And it's so fantastic that the football club is starting to embrace that and to do more of that. I look at the Dockers Day, I look at this Community Trust Day, the Jimmy Mizzen Day. It's fantastic, and it just doesn't get enough wider publication as it should do. And that's something that I'm sure that Sean and Billy Taylor and other people at the club are trying to solve. But it would be nice if once in a while we didn't have to shout these sorts of things from the rooftop, and there was some recognition outside of the Millwall bubble.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with all points being made there, guys. It's I couldn't agree more. Next up, we're going to listen to how the Lionesses and the Millwall Romans got on this previous weekend.
Millwall's young side lost 2-1 in a brilliant derby with London rivals high-flying Fulham on Sunday. With a mounting list of injuries and suspensions, manager Jack Wheeler selected 6 of the club's under-18 side, and a large and appreciative crowd saw a tight game in the sunshine at Salter Road, Rotherhithe. This was the final home game for Millwall this season. They started well, and 16-year-old Frances Kerr struck an early chance left-footed narrowly past the post when she might have scored. Poppy Payne was strong in the back four, replacing Amy Nash due to strict concussion protocols. And Millie Penfold and Sophie Chapman worked hard in a midfield which was facing Fulham's Romanian international Oana Negrea. The Lionesses started the second half on top, but 2 defensive mistakes resulted in goals before the girls managed a strong comeback in the last 15 minutes. Poppy Payne set up Molly Hawkins for a brilliantly taken goal for 2-1, and then Maisie Joyce struck a post with a trademark free kick. But Fulham held on for the win.
Time to talk Romans and Pride, but it's really been Pride that's been the busier of the two, although I did catch up with Paul Lodin at the Community Day.
Husky is a wonderful drink, Paul. I'm glad that you've seen that we've got some here today. I've got Paul Odin, the General Manager of Millwall Romans and Pride, here at the Community Day with the Millwall Community Trust. What's it all about?
Well, yeah, we're here today. Obviously, it's just to promote what the community trust does for the local community, and you can see what's going on down here today. There's youngsters playing. There's all this Husky chocolate we're here giving out, collecting for charity, and you can see there's so much that goes on that people don't actually realise, and it's good to promote days like today to actually see that what actually goes on with the trust.
It does, and of course the trust needs donations to keep themselves going. I mean, they attract obviously funding from government to run some of the things that they do, but a lot more is done with the kindness of fans and the local community.
Absolutely, yeah, and just a couple of quid will go a long way, and especially at the moment with the Easter holidays, there's so many things that are going on with the trust with youngsters, and it's a difficult time for everybody. Appreciate that with the prices of energy that are going up, but just a couple of quid that maybe a youngster can come here, play some football, get a bit of lunch here, etc., and it just helps out a little bit.
Lovely, Paul. Hope you and the boys enjoy a good day today.
Brilliant.
Speak
Thanks,
to you again.
Cheers.
Bye.
Next up, I spoke with John Goodyear, who's been playing for Pride, and he told us about an exciting game that they had against Charlton.
So Pride's last game was the big one for us, the derby against Charlton. We played them earlier in the year and drew 2-2, and we had to go away to them again. Ended up being our first ever victory with an amazing 5-1 win. We started out, we were playing really well, passing the ball amongst ourselves, but not really making the most of our chances until our fullback Dan burst into the box with a great header to make it 1-0 at half-time. Came out in the second half, we were maybe a bit nervy, not that used to being in the lead for such a long period of time, but we managed to get a second goal through number 10 Diogo, poking it under the keeper. However, they pulled one back from a penalty, which we thought was a bit of a dodgy handball. However, we responded really well to that. We didn't let it get on top of us, and then we really pulled away in the last kind of 25-20 minutes. We scored a third goal through midfielder Ari, doing a great kind of burst into the box, slide tackling their defender to score. Then Tammy scored with an absolutely beautiful blaze shot, and Alex put a lovely kind of curve shot into the corner to complete what was a really convincing victory. To be honest, we could have scored 3 or 4 more, and we did really well to put up with a team that's normally quite physical, quite argumentative. We rose above all of that and just put in a really good professional performance, which we're really proud of.
After hearing about that great result against Charlton, I asked John what was up next for Millwall Pride.
So we've only got 2 league games left this season, so we're going away to Titans on the 24th of April, and after that we've got our final game at home against Soho Freedom, another team who we drew against earlier in the year, on the 8th of May.
Well, with the improvement that we've seen, looks like Millwall Pride are going to be on the map too, and we can look forward to those fixtures happening and hear all about it later. Lastly, I asked John what he thought about what was coming up with our fixtures over the Easter period. And this is what he told me.
So one of the best things I think about the Championship is the Easter weekend, where you have the games on the Friday and the Monday. So obviously a couple of big games coming up for Millwall as they keep chasing the playoffs. I reckon Preston away, it's obviously tough. They're one of those mid-table sides that can always do whatever on you, but I think they're kind of out of the running for everything and probably going to be enjoying the sun. I reckon Millwall can get an away win there, 2-1. On Easter Monday, actually a load of us from Millwall Romans are going to go to the game and enjoy the day out there. I'm a little bit biased because I'm actually from Hull, so I might be in the away end for this one. I'm going to diplomatically go for a draw, but say I reckon Millwall can pull through in the last few games of the season. Very solid team. I reckon they might make the playoffs.
Thanks, John. We'll be looking for 6 points. Never mind 4. Let's be hopeful. Cheers, mate. Bye. The Lionesses and Romans will play their final games of the season at the Den in May. Watch out for the date for that to be confirmed.
Brilliant stuff from both teams there, and always nice to get a win against Charlton. Over the Easter weekend, Gary Rout's boys could climb into the top 6 if results go their way, when we travel to Preston on Good Friday and then host Hull City on Easter Monday. Let's listen to our very own Henry Morgan for more on those games.
Cheers, James. Look, I think I'm always very wary about predicting anything actually in the Championship because it is the Championship. But Preston, sit more or less bang in the middle of the table in 13th. Their home form isn't bad. They've only lost 3 games at home all season. They've drawn an awful lot. They've won 8, but they have won their last 3 at home, and that sort of momentum begins to build. And so, it's always a difficult place to go to, I think, Deepdale. And even though I think in the home game, I didn't really, famous last words, I didn't really think there were much to write home about. I think we potentially could have the advantage, and especially if, the home team have to come on and try and, take the initiative. I think we could have a good crack there. But, that's the Preston game. In terms of Hull, Hull at the wrong end of the table, really. But they're not in great form. Only 2 wins out of the last 5 games. I think that their away form, if anything's better than their home form. So
brilliant.
There's a difficulty there. There's they haven't lost in their last 5 away from home. Draw, win, win. So. I think that really that they're one of those teams where usually they play in quite low scoring games. So the odd goal in one might win that one. But that's pretty much what we got. Hull towards the bottom, Preston towards the middle. 2 actually quite tricky games, I think.
Yeah. I saw a stat earlier today actually on a football app that I think our last 4 games against Preston, we've won 3 and drawn 1. So we do have a pretty good record against them as of late. And our last 2 trips to Deepdale, we won, keeping 2 clean sheets as well, which steers us in good stead as well. And in terms of Hull, it was a disappoint. I vaguely remember it, the reverse fixture earlier on in the season. It was pretty disappointing, given where we were and where Hull were, but. All that's a lot can change in the second half of the season, and I think with the result against Barnsley on Saturday and our home form recently as well, but bar the Swansea game, I think we've got a very good chance of getting 3 points from Hull as well. Debbie, what are your thoughts on the games this weekend?
Well, Preston is 5 games to go after that one. It's going to be a hard game, as you were just saying. And what Jeff was saying earlier with the Gary Rowett, it's going to be difficult who to choose for the team. We've got Mason Bennett coming back, hopefully, and Sean Hutchison and the other guys.
Sean Hutchison, of course,
Yeah.
Apparently Luke Freeman might be on the mend as well, I've heard.
Yeah. So it's going to be a hard one for him to actually pick. But, Preston, as you say, are avoiding any sort of... They've got things to play for too. So I think we're going to have a hard game there. I think we'll come out on top and we've got to give it our all. That's going to be the hardest game. And Hull, obviously down the bottom... And they've got the worry of where they go from there. But I think we're definitely, that'll be, as what was said earlier, nothing's easy, but that might be easier.
Yeah, well, it's the Championship, and you can never say for sure what's going to happen in the Championship. But from looking at the table, I think Preston have a very, very slim chance of making the playoffs this season. It would involve them winning pretty much every single game and having to hope that everyone above them loses a game at some point. So, I think they're about where they're going to be this season. And in Hull, I remember, I think they got a takeover earlier on in the season. They've had a new manager, so they're sort of on a long-term project. And I think with a win at some point over the Easter weekend, I think they should be all but safe. So again, it is going to be tricky. But from what the buzz around our last match at home, 4-1 win against Barnsley, although Barnsley weren't great, it should hopefully steer us in good stead to get another 3 points on Monday and hopefully on Friday as well. And last but not least, Jeff, what are your thoughts going into the Easter period?
I think we've discussed what kind of a division the Championship is year after year, and certainly this year, you never know who's going to beat who. It's wonderful. In the Premier League, the top 6 teams are the same top 6 teams as it always seems to be. And they're the 6 teams that wanted to have a European Super League. So being in the Premier League, it's much more predictable. The Championship's totally unpredictable. And I'm just hoping that because we're coming from below the radar, we've never been higher than 9th, I think I said earlier, and we're going to sneak into the playoffs on the last day. I can feel it coming.
You've heard it here. You've heard it here first.
That's how optimistic I feel at the moment. And to do that, we're going to need 6 points over Easter.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to win at Preston.
I agree, Jeff.
On Good Friday. I've got a feeling we're going to win there. I think the competition for places, the atmosphere in that team when they scored the goals against Barnsley was just amazing to see. And so they are. We'll beat Preston. Then we've got the home game where the pressure's on because everyone expects you to win your home games. And by then we might have even moved even nearer to the playoffs.
Well, if results go our way Friday, we could be 1 point outside.
Who knows? But what counts is where we are after the last game. And I'm telling you, I have a nice feeling, and I'm looking for. Having said that, you often get disappointed with Millwall, don't you? As we discussed earlier from 1972. But I don't know.
A lot can change in 50 years.
A lot can change in a week, and this next weekend, this Easter weekend, I just have a good feeling, and I'm really looking forward to these 2 games. Really looking forward. Can't wait for the home game. Let's turn up in numbers. We often do on Easter, and 2 wins for me.
Well, on that note, Jeff, what are your score predictions for the games?
2-0 at Preston.
2-0 at Preston.
Probably 2-1 for the whole game, because they always give us a scare, don't they, our team? They always give us a fright. They even did that in the Barnsley game. For a moment
as I said,
or two.
the first 5 or so minutes, But 2-0 and 2-1, I'll happily take that. Henry, what are your predictions, score-wise?
I mean, I just don't think there could be anything more Millwall than winning at Preston and then losing at home to Hull. But I'm going to be more positive than that. I think we're going to win 1-0 at Preston. I like 2-1 at the Den. I like Jeff's suggestion there. 2-1 at the Den, 6 points over Easter.
Excellent. That'll do me nicely. And Debbie, what about you?
I'm going to be very optimistic, and I'm going to go 2-1 on each game.
2-1 on each game. Perfect. Yeah. Nice one. All round. Okay. And I'll give my predictions. Why not? Preston, I think we're going to win. I'm actually going to say we're going to win 2-0 at Preston. I've got a good feeling about that. We won 2-0 there last season. And Hull, I'm going to actually be braver, and I'm going to say 3-1 to Millwall against Hull. Get a few more goals on the goal difference. Brilliant. Well, we're going to take a break there, and we're going to listen to the Fantastic Fanatics.
Hi, I'm Richard Gordon, and I'd like to invite you to become a Fantastic Fanatic. Fantastic Fanatics is a great way to raise funds for your sports club. Sign up today, find your club, and securely register your everyday debit and credit cards. Every time you spend with our retail partners, they pay a percentage back to your club. It costs you nothing, and you can win cash prizes along the way. Visit fantasticfanatics.com and help your club be the best it can be.
Don't forget, our very own Debbie is taking part in the Kick and Cook initiative for the Millwall Community Trust, as she spoke about earlier. They are groundbreakers in this initiative. Debbie, what do you have to say about it? Can you give us a bit of insight into what it is?
Well, absolutely. Jeff knows a little bit about it as well. Basically, we are linked with the Royal Academy of Culinary Arts. I've mentioned this previously on the show, and no one else, no other club is linked with them. Sean had the idea of having kick and cook so that they'd be learning about sports out of the field, and in the classroom they'd be learning about food. The two linked together, so the Royal Academy Doctor School is now linked with Kick and Cook with Millwall. So it's the first time that the Royal Academy has come across to a football club, so which is a great honour on both sides. Actually, they are extremely proud of it. And what they do for the cooking side of it is they have a professional chef that's dedicated to a doctor school. And they go in, they learn about all the taste, the different types of food. So, for instance, the 5 different types of taste and 5 different types of food that we have. They learn about healthy eating, and it encourages them to have a life skill on how to prepare the healthy dishes that they eat, and they take that home to their parents as well. And this gives them a good stead in life going forward. And also, what was quite amusing, so Ashley said, who's one of the chefs, that he was in the Easter camp last week. And he said even the trainers, our trainers, who are professional sports people, they learnt quite a lot as well. So they're taking it home. So it's sort of really spreading it. And it sort of teaches them about teamwork. They experience new types of food, some that they've never ever seen from. They find out where our food comes from, and sort of take that through. Jeff also came along, as I did on Monday. Jeff was there yesterday, and it is a very, very special thing that we're doing. There are more to come. We're going into Turnham School and Academy, and we're going on from there. So there is more linkages, and we will be coming into the summer camps as well. So the Kick and Cook is going to grow and grow, and it's again another thing that the Millwall Community Trust is just first off and the first one to think of it and applying it to.
Excellent stuff. Brilliant. Thank you, Debbie, for that. And now we're going to hear about what Jeff Burnige found out regarding it.
Well, here we are at the Millwall Community Trust Easter holiday programme, and I've got 3 young people here who've been doing the cooking, which today has been pasta salad. First of all, what's your name?
Esri.
And what did you like about doing the pasta salad course?
I liked mixing it up together.
Did you eat it or take it home or leave it?
It's in my bag.
It's in your bag to take home. That's good. And what's your name?
Evan.
Evan. And you come from Ilderton School across the road, don't you?
Yeah.
What did you enjoy about it?
I enjoy when you cut it up and mashed it up.
You mashed it up with the fork, did you?
Yeah, and then when we cut it.
Did you think Alice was a good teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what did she put on at the end? Did she put on some lemon?
It was oil.
Olive oil, right. And what's your name?
Emmanuel. I also come from Ilderton School, just across the road.
Yes, and what did you like about it?
I like shaking the food, and I also liked mashing it.
Did you eat yours, or did you take it home or leave it on the same?
I gave it to Evan because, to be honest, I didn't really like it. I only liked it a bit, so I gave it to Evan.
Which bits do you think you would enjoy eating? Which vegetable?
Well, pepper and the tomatoes, even though I don't really like them.
Okay, well, let's go back to Ezra. Which school do you go to, Ezra?
Albion.
Okay, and what did you like about the course today? What was the bit I think Emmanuel's making you giggle, isn't he? You're all giggling.
I enjoyed shaking it up at the end and putting on the lemon.
Right, okay. I think that's enough because you've all collapsed into a fit of giggles. So, would you like to say thank you to Alice?
Thank you, Alice. Thank you.
So we're here with Alice McKinnon, who is from a doctor school, and this Easter, Alice, you've been doing a course with the children, showing them how to make a nice pasta salad.
Yes, so we've been doing the holiday clubs here at MILLWALL at the Lions Centre, and we've done 4 in total, and we did some taste and sensory sessions last week and then practical sessions this week.
And how have you found the kids? Were they paying attention and enjoying it, or was it a bit of an effort to keep them in order?
Most of the time they were paying attention, but obviously there's always a few that find it difficult to stay focused.
One of the sessions you had to do on your own without anyone else to supervise, is that right?
Yes.
That must have been crazy.
It was crazy, but they all really enjoyed it.
Good. And you're quite local yourself, aren't you? So it wasn't particularly far to have to come.
No, I'm from Dulwich, so not too far.
And what do you think the children learnt most that they'll retain from what they were taught over the course?
Hopefully just that vegetables can taste good and they don't have to be sort of boring and disgusting. And pretty much all of them by the end have had a taste of at least one new thing, and that's a win, I feel.
Good. And you also asked them to identify the 5 senses.
Yes.
They can all do that. What else did you ask them before they got started?
We do the 5 senses and we do the food group. So for the holiday club, some of the kids have had a lesson before, some of them haven't. So we always just do a quick recap of the 5 senses and how to hold a knife properly, and the 2 knife hand positions, and the food groups, just so we can make sure that everyone's starting from the same page.
When you came in before Christmas, we went to Riverside School. It wasn't you personally, but we did something similar with that. They actually were doing hot food, so they were older now, but they were all from the same class. Now, this group today were from all different age groups, weren't they?
Yeah, they're all different age groups because this is a holiday club. They're all different age groups and they're all different from different schools. So some of them have had the session before and some of them haven't. So it's a bit more challenging because some of them are starting completely from zero and some of them are a bit more advanced. That's why we do something that's quite basic, just so that we can make sure that everybody's going to be able to complete it and feel satisfied.
Well, thank you very much for doing it, Alice. It's gone very well. You were brilliant.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Excellent to hear all around there. Don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team, bringing reports from our games both home and away, where Kai Bennett will be our roving reporter. Also updates on Millwall's community matters too on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM. That's it from me. Thanks Debbie, Jeff and Henry. Finally, it's good night from me and it's good night from them. And from all of us at the No One Likes Us Talking team, we wish you and your family a very happy Easter weekend.